Hello, everybody. It's Althmere. I hope you're doing really well. I'm also known as Alth, if you don't already know. So, this channel is dedicated to video games related stuff like Let's Plays, playthroughs, things like that. So, in today's video, I'm just going to be talking about the latest PvP test that ZeniMax Online Studios has come out with and just finished up for the video game Elder Scrolls Online. One of the mini games that I play, and the main game that this channel is kind of about. But no, I won't get into too much of a rant because I don't want this video to be really long. So I wrote down just a few of my thoughts here, just kind of like bullet points on the Vengeance campaign, what I thought, good, bad, and all that kind of junk. I played it not every day. I think I played it maybe 4 days. So let's just dive right into the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe too, by the way. If you enjoy my content, you want to see more, I have playlists that you guys can check out for past Elder Scrolls Online content that I've covered, past episodes of Enshrouded, which I'm still doing a playthrough of. So check those out. Like and subscribe. No, well, you can't subscribe to the videos. Subscribe to me. Like the videos if you enjoy them. Comment on the videos. What was your favorite part? Anyway, so first bullet point is if this was testing the foundation of PvP, not just like the population cap and seeing how many people you can fit in before it breaks, right? But the actual foundation of it. Because they knocked this down to bare bones. If you didn't know, I guess I'll cover that first, right? Because before everyone's like, Althamir, what in the living shit is Vengeance? It was a campaign that ZeniMax came out with to test PvP. They knocked it down to bare bones. There was no questing. There was no picking up harvesting nodes. There was nothing. Even the abilities themselves were very simplistic versions of the abilities that we have today on the live server. Well, this was the live server on PvE side, I guess. And if that's the case, that this was also testing the foundation, I think that it was a huge win for them because we were in fights of 300 plus, right? 100 of us, 150, 150 of us versus 150 of them. And sometimes it was 100 of us, 100 of them, and 50 or whatever, maybe even sometimes 100 of another alliance. And it was just, it didn't get laggy. It really didn't get laggy until you had an epic amount of players there. We're talking like 500 plus players. That's when it really you started to get some lag, So I think that was that was kind of a big win. So they can say that the foundation of PvP is good, right? Whatever they did with that, because I think they were working on some sort of coding thing, right? Like re-architecture, and I think that was pretty much a win. Another next bullet point, well, not the focus. It showed that some classes from the ground up are just built better. And it's very true. Some classes just operate better than others. Even with the simplistic changed abilities, there are ones that were just kind of obvious. And I really do think that they need to work on it. Just shows that they still have a decent amount of work to do on these classes. The biggest point that was a huge win for a lot of us was there was the stuck in combat bug was gone. I mean, this is something that we've all been dealing with for how many years now? Like launch? So that's insane that it was gone. So that proves that there's something that they took out that's causing that. So that's cool. So maybe this is something we won't have to deal with if they ever, because I'm pretty sure what they said. I could be getting wrong, but what they said was they were going to slowly add things back in, right? And see, where some of where the primary lag is coming from, because even when we had lag, it definitely was not as bad as it is on the normal Grey Host servers. So um it would be really cool if they could when they figure that stuff out, as they add stuff in, no combat bug, and they say, whoop, we added this, that's where it's coming from, bam, fix it, done. Okay, next bullet point. While not being kept, most likely, the skies and the blood rain were really cool. Like, I think if that could be some, you know how sometimes they have mini events for battlegrounds. It would be super sick if they had like a mini event for PvP. I'm not talking about changing any of the abilities or anything. No, no, no. A mini event PvP, make it something. I don't care. But have the skies be like this, blood rain. I don't know what you want. Like, I don't know what you could add that to make it, you know, cool, instead of just like double AP or whatever. Like, make it something special. I think that'd be super sick, because the one thing a lot of us PvPers want is just, I mean, it's fun. Also something to spend AP on. So give us something. Thank you. You're welcome. All right, next bullet point. And I'm sorry, you know, to say this. I'm always gonna be honest, whether that's against the devs or it's against the players. I'm always just gonna be honest about it. I mean, it's just my opinion. People are going to disagree. Perfectly fine. I don't care. I love discourse and that kind of stuff. But what this really exposed to me is how many players just simply don't pay attention, and how you can't take a lot of the negativity that you see out there, you know, on, you know, in the forums and on Reddit and other YouTubers and all that stuff. You can't really take it as 100%, you know, like gospel. It's like, oh, this is definitely an issue because XYZ said it, man. No, because there are so many people who don't pay attention. I don't know how many times every single day, multiple times a day, there are people who went into the campaign. Where are my abilities? What happened to this? What happened to that? Why can't I do quests? Why can't I do that? Zos didn't say anything. Why didn't they say anything? Here we go again. Da 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 da. And I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, other people in Zone still were also like, what are you talking about, dude? They talked about it on the forums. They talked about ESO Live. They talked about it probably on people were talking about it on Reddit. Players are talking about it in Discord. Other players are talking about it like in game, in guilds. Like, hello? What are you talking about? It wasn't talked about. They talked about it multiple times. They have a Q&A video up. They have a live stream video up. Like, I think there's an article. Like, and it just really exposes that some people, when some people say they didn't do that, look it up for yourself and develop your own opinion. Don't just take other people's opinion as gospel, even not even mine. Look it up. You're curious about something? Did they talk about this? Did they talk about that? Check it. You know, that's the only thing I can say. Because, oh my God, it was so frustrating and funny to just, every single day, at least, like, I felt like it was like once an hour, explain to somebody that this is a test. It's not permanent. The abilities are this, da 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 da. That's that. How many people thought that this was permanent? They're like, oh my God, this is gonna be Cyrodiil now? It's like, no, it's a test. It's just a week. My Lord, read, brother. You know, and as I said, next bullet point, I'm always gonna be honest here. But it also exposes Oz. And it begs the question, if this does provide you the data you need to rebuild a working Cyrodiil, why was it not done years ago? You know, I mean, for real. Was it not a priority for corporate and the businesses above you? That I completely understand. I mean, at some point, honestly, my rage for PvP went from directed at ZeniMax to directed at their parent company. Because I'm like, okay, they're not stupid. There's some protocol or something from higher up that they can't do. They can't say it, and you know, was it the schedule? Because I remember in Matt Ford's video, he was saying that the schedule was so tight, it didn't even allow them to experiment. It didn't allow them to do blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, I wonder if it didn't allow them to even work on PvP. If they could only work on what was going to be in Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, and that was it, they couldn't really go outside the boundaries of that. Then I can see why it took them so long to even do anything in PvP, because they didn't have the schedule for it. They were already probably living in there, which is probably why they unionized, right? Which helped them calm down on it helped them work-life balance, but which is good, by the way. But it also helped them focus more, I think. Maybe that's why we didn't get it all this time. But still, I can't help but think, why did it take so long, And tell me, okay, sorry. I saw something in the video, and I wanted to point it out. Where is it? Where is he? Where are they? Oh, damn it. There's this person in the video, and their @name is that right there. RKSAS or whatever. You can't tell me that's not Iskra. Come on now. Sorry. If you know, you know. I think the next bullet point I would say is having the Jester Festival drop in the same week that you're trying to get data was probably not the best decision. Probably should have bumped it. I understand it. Jester's supposed to be around April Fools, but it's not even April Fools yet, and Vengeance is over. You could have easily had Jester Festival start now. Start today. Because everyone noticed. As soon as the Jester Festival dropped, the population dropped. Now it did rise up a little bit more, but we were in queues of... It was at one point, before they raised the population cap, and even somewhat after, we were in queues in like hundreds, right? But as soon as that Jester Festival dropped, bam, like it just changed. I don't even think some alliances didn't even get in queues. I don't think DC got to locked ever again. So I think that was probably a huge miss. If they want data, you don't drop one of people's favorite events in there. Probably should have delayed that. So that was a huge miss. All right. So next bullet point was what I enjoyed in this was not only the big fights, but it was the easier infinite siege and infinite pots. Now, I mean, I have a lot of tripods because of Ouroboros crates and stuff like that. And honestly, daily rewards. Everyone's like, Jesus, how many current crates did you buy? 90% of my things came from daily rewards, because the daily rewards gave out like sometimes like 100 a piece or 200 a piece. It was really easy to stack those things pretty quick and get them in like the thousands. But the infinite siege and stuff, I think, was really cool. It made things a lot easier. And if that was somehow something that they could, I don't know, somehow keep around, maybe even during that event, right? During the event, the skies turn red, the blood's red, and now there's just infinite siege, but it's more than what we got in Vengeance. Maybe it's all siege for a limited time, is all, like, it's all fucking infinite, except for Coldfire lances and stuff like that are, not. I think that'd be kind of sick. I don't know. I thought it was really sick, because we need, the one thing that us players need is something else to spend our AP on. We would all be happily to spend our AP if we had something to spend it on. I randomly spent mine on, I'm not even kidding you, I had so much AP at one point. I think it was at like 10 million or something. But I noticed my sticker book wasn't really that full. So I bought a crap ton of those zone boxes. Grotwood, Oridon, green shade and stuff like that. And I just bought a ton of them so I could fill my sticker book because I had nothing else to spend my AP on, and I wanted something, so I said, "Fuck it." It's yeah, it was nuts. Final bullet point, and then I'll kind of go into my final thoughts here. Is some of the class abilities were actually better than they were on live, which was nuts. And this shows, and this tells me that they can separate PvE and PvP. Necro, while still having some big holes, was actually better. Even Arcanist, which is in the middle of the pack on live, at least in my opinion anyway, was better. The Arcanist portal ability was fast. It was responsive. Yeah, some people were saying, yeah, Arcanist now has streak. But it was fun. It was usable, and I used it all the time to get some separation in fights if I overextended, or to catch it. What I used it for mostly was to catch up to people. If they were way ahead of me, I would just use portal and boom, just catch up to them. It was so fun. And necro ability, it seemed like if I did graveyard and Hulk smash is what I call it, it would just obliterate people. But I think so. I mean, if they could somehow, no, that's not the thought. Reverse it, come back, replay. It shows that they can separate this, and it shows that it works. They separated PvE and PvP, and again, the foundation, it wasn't causing any lag, so it kind of, it kind of gives birth, I guess, to the question of, what can they turn these abilities into? They're not going to stay like this. Dear God, I hope they don't. Like, as they add more things into the abilities, it's like, okay, what can they do? Maybe they should keep targeted healing. I think that kind of helped. Maybe, you keep HOTS at a lower thing. Maybe, maybe HOTS don't stack. Maybe they, one HOT replaces the other kind of thing. Like, you gotta think of everything. You don't want to eliminate ball groups. I'm sorry. They are, I hate ball groups, but they're a legitimate playstyle. There's nothing wrong with them, unless you're cheating, which, there's nothing wrong with them, even though I find them extremely annoying. But if you can somehow still make it fun for them, but not a burden to everybody else, I think that's that kind of happy place. And maybe separation of PvE and PvP will be that. You can do it. I mean, hell, even Templar was a lot better because I played Templar for a little bit. I mostly played Necro, but I screwed around with Sork. I screwed around with Arcanist. I screwed around with Necro and Templar, and I had the most fun. And Nightblade. I had the most fun, honestly, on Necro, Arcanist, and Templar. Those are the ones I had the most fun with. And two of those classes are at the bottom right now in PvP, which is Templar and Necro. But they weren't at the bottom here. At least didn't feel that way. So the idea is there. They know they can do it, and they know that they can make these classes as fun to the point where people will try them and actually have fun with them again. So that's exciting. I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see whenever the next test is going to be. Overall, should they keep the campaign? No. A lot of people on the forums and all that were talking about, replacing the Lobby campaign with it. And I'm like, no. It's not going to work. It's just simply not going to work. And for one reason. It's because, and I'm guilty of this too, I'm shitting on myself, people blindly follow the leader in this game. I'm sorry, they do. And if they log in, they hit L or whatever, and they see where everyone is, black reaches 2 bars each, Raven's Watch is maybe one bar, maybe two, but Grey Host is locked. Guess where they're going? And they'll sit in queues of hundreds to 200 to 300, whatever, before they even think about going to Blackwood or Raven's Watch or any of those other campaigns. My argument has always been, if a campaign's locked, go somewhere else. So most of the time, that's what I do. I try to, practice what I preach. Sometimes I just don't have the time. So I sit in a queue and I go have fun in bigger fights in Grey Host. But I think that and that's why, and I think that's why that this campaign wouldn't work as a regular campaign. It'd be dead. And not because the people who love it now and want it to stay around would play in it. I don't even think they'd play in it. I don't. I think they'd go where the battles are to get AP. I've always said, even too, I've been saying this for a long time, that if a campaign is locked, you shouldn't be able to queue. And I know that probably counterintuitive, like, hey, my guildmates are in Grey Host, it's locked, I can't get in. It might lead people to leaving PvP. Or it could lead to people actually spreading out and making the other campaigns populated. There is no difference between Blackreach and Grey Host in terms of rules besides Alliance locks, but it's a joke anyway. I'm sorry, but it is. Alliance lock isn't keeping anything. Blackreach, when Mid-Year Mayhem comes around, or White Strikes Mayhem, whatever the fuck it's called. I almost live in Blackreach exclusively because you can't get in Grey Host. It's fine. I don't care if Joe Schmo is 80 one minute and then flips to DC the next minute. I don't give a flying shit. I don't care if he's spying in zone. Like, I could tell you where I'm going. I don't care. Bring the fights, bring the AP. It's fun. And I don't know. I mean, that's the only difference. But people wouldn't play in Vengeance, so it'd be pointless. I'm sorry. I can't spell apparently. Watching myself write and knowing what was going on in this fight is extremely distracting. This is the easiest way to do a opinion video, though. I record for about an hour, right? And then I fucking just talk over it with it on mute. It's but the fucking easiest way to do it. I think it was a good test. I really hope that ZeniMax got the data they needed for it. I think they did, at least in the first few days. It was insane, the first few days, and it really did remind me of fights back in 2014, 2015. It really did. I'm not even kidding you. It really did. It was so fun. And okay, so you know what the funniest thing is? And people who hate the Lobby campaign are about to probably hate me right now. But there was one reason why Lobby was very popular for a long time with players. At least, I mean, I was in there most of 2019. And the reason is because there was no lag. It didn't matter what the fights were, and there were times on 2 bars each, sometimes 3 bars each during Mayhem, where it'd be 50 versus 50 versus 50 on all 3. It would be a 3-way fight, and it would be packed in terms of what the live server can do. No lag at all. And it's the reason why a lot of us stayed there, because it's the only PvP we could get without lag. And a lot of us were like, why? And this was before you could buy skills, by the way. 2019. So that was elsewhere. And it was just crazy, and a lot of us were like, kind of like, well, maybe there are certain abilities that you unlock later that cause too many calculations, and there weren't ball groups either. There were organized groups in Lobby, and we all kind of wondered if that was the problem. Some later abilities, because you didn't have Meteor. A lot of us didn't have Meteor. A lot of us didn't have Dawnbreaker. A lot of us didn't have, you know, all the soul magic. We didn't have a lot of shit. You know, we had basically like bare bone-esque abilities. And again, no matter how big the fights got in Lobby, there was no lag. It was insane. And then they do something like this, and I'm like, huh, were we right all those years ago? Because eventually Lobby got stupid because people started to re-roll in there with yellow gear, all golded out shit, and it just became fucking dumb to be there. And then, people that I ran with, shout out to them and my Surge mates and Nate and Nat, if you're watching this, man, miss you, bro. Come back to the game, dude. So, Sorks forever. um, you know, it was fun. I had so much fun with those guys. But but it became dumb to run in Lobby because it was just a bunch of yellowed out tryhards, and it was just like, all right, let's move on. But again, the Cyrodiil and the above 50 campaigns just were so laggy and just so bleh to run in. It wasn't about talent. It wasn't. I mean, it was about some people, but it wasn't about talent. At least with the people I played with, because they were all up. They were all really great PvPers, like absolutely great PvPers. I mean, I'm not a good player, but they could do laps around me, and they could definitely do it. They could definitely play in Greyhost and be fine. But the lag, man, the lag. I mean, Jesus Christ, it's ugh, you know. Um, it's why I lost a lot of friends. I started out in this game 2014. Started out Royal Old Mary Guard. Shout out to Rag. My first guild, first PvP guild, and man, we had some major fun. A lot of them left lag and bullshit. Our leader left because he wanted Chinese food and never came back. But my Chinese food must have been really fucking good, man. But it's just crazy. But if they could fix Cyrodiil, if this gives them the data, now that my rant's over and I'm done like zoning the fuck out, if this gives them the data to get them close to what Cyrodiil used to be, I say bring it on. I'll join in any test they can bring. Let's do it. Let's figure it the fuck out. Now that you have time, if you're serious about it, Sauce, if you have the fucking time now, and you're dedicated to it, bring it on. Because you can at least count me in, and a few people that I watched on stream and I talked to in Discords and in game, we're all on board too. I just want Cyrodiil to work. And I understand Vengeance wasn't forever. I can't wait for it to come back in a new form with stuff added to see if it causes lag and gives you more data. But comes back in this form? Absolutely not. And even Zoss said, by the way, you guys, absolutely no way. And I covered that live stream. They said no way. And it's good. They're taking a hard stance, but they want to figure it out. Give them time. And for the love of God, guys and girls, read. I beg of you. I'm not trying to shit on you because I do it too. There's times where I didn't have the information and I looked really dumb. And I went over and I read the article, I read the thing I missed, or I watched the live stream, and I'm like, well, shit. So look for information. The Zoss posts on Reddit. but look on the forums. Well, I wouldn't join the forums, but look for the official post on the forums. Kind of toxic there. Check out ESO lives. Check out Discord, stuff like that. Look for the information because it's there. If it's not there, then ask one of us YouTubers. We might have it. I don't know. So, I really hope you guys enjoyed the time. And Vengeance, if you played, it was a lot of fun. But bring me back Grey Host. And bring me back sets. And I can't wait to see this in iteration number 2. I kind of wonder what they're going to add. What do you think they'll add? Just want to speculate here for a bit. What do you think they're going to add in the next test? Because that's what they said they were going to do. They were going to slowly add things in. Is it going to be quests? I think it would be something simple, right? Maybe more siege. Maybe keeping damage and dot numbers the way it is, but adding in more siege, like meat bags and lightning ballistas and things like that. Maybe adding in a quest or 2 or something. That'd be kind of cool, right? I think that'd work. I can't wait to see what the next test is. It's gonna be fun. I know that. It is. I hope it is. Let me know in the comments below, what was your favorite part of Vengeance? I think a lot of you will say going away, which I'm not entirely. You're not wrong. But man, I hope they got that data. Jesus. And Zos, to communicate. You're not gonna watch this video, but if you happen to get drunk and watch it, don't stop with the communication you're doing now. Don't listen to the people out there. Because you have improved your communication. It is getting better. And a lot of us see it. And I can respect it even though I don't really play the game a lot. I just don't play the game a lot right now because there's nothing to do. Not because I hate the game. So continue communicating. You're doing fine. And thank you for Vengeance. It kind of sparked my love of ESO again. So it's something I kind of needed. I really appreciate it. But God, I want my fucking sets back, dude. Thank you for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment below. And I'll see you in the next video.